Today, Megan and I are talking about tips for eating on the road. If you are someone that is really busy, you travel a lot for work, or maybe you travel for pleasure, and you struggle to make good nutrition choices, you just don't know what to eat, this is the episode that you don't want to miss. I'm Crystal, this is Megan, and this is Unloaded. If you have any questions at all about this episode, we're going to pop our contact information into the video description, and you can reach out to us. I'm going to let Megan get started here. You are kind of an expert on traveling and what to eat when you're traveling. Hit us with some ideas here. I know this is a big barrier for people.
It is, and I get it. It's been probably 15 years of trying to figure out how to manage nutrition on the road and be prepared. And it took a little while of figuring out how to be prepared for just a few hours until I get to my destination. And
Yeah.
then eventually you realize once you get to your destination, you're still in trouble if you don't have food. You need to figure something out.
Yeah.
Or I used to go hours and hours and hours without eating, sometimes like 7 or 8 hours without even realizing it. And then how do you how do you make progress in your training was one of my biggest things. I was finding I was just not getting stronger because I wasn't
Yeah.
eating enough. I wasn't eating
Well,
nearly enough of what I needed.
yeah, and I think too that's interesting too. You talk about like going 7 or 8 hours with not eating. That's a huge trigger for binge eating, actually. So clients who struggle with they'll go home at the end of the day and they'll be just like feeling like they're out of control, like total inhibition, like in the pantry, eating everything that they can and not necessarily making the best choices because they're super hungry, their energy is super low, and like what's fast and available. So like that 7 to 8 hour window can be super problematic if you don't have a plan.
It is, yeah. And so about 2 years ago, I moved outside of the city, and it was a 50-minute 50 drive to work. So every day became a little bit of a road trip. There's no going and popping in at home and having a meal, especially if you have just a split up shift or a split up day.
Yeah.
So that got me really into planning for every single day, which I love. You won't see me without my lunch kit, or it's highly unlikely you'll see me without my lunch kit these
Yeah.
days. And in that lunch kit, it used to be just one meal, maybe to get me through the day and then get me home. But
Yeah.
now I need dinner before I'm on my way home. Otherwise, sometimes I was eating at 9 p.m. and
Yeah.
then that throws off that throws off my sleep. That throws
Yeah.
off the next day. So I started eating dinner before I would even go home. And that's like 90% of my food intake was not at home.
Not at home. Do you have like a big Yeti cooler or something? Like what do you use to cart around all your food?
I did get a Yeti cooler like
Oh,
2 or 3
jealous.
years ago. I don't take that with me. I'll actually post something about my cooler. It's just an Amazon cooler. I think it was 20
Okay.
bucks, but it fits a lot more than you think. I can even
Awesome.
put a protein shake inside, two full meals, and then a few snacks and a little ice pack. So I
Yeah.
love the cooler.
Yeah.
But so that's for my day to day. But when I'm talking about traveling, whether it's overseas or just to go visit family, if in BC, which is like five to 10 hours of travel. I've had up to 24 hours of delays in my travel time before.
Yeah.
I've had actually more than that. So I started bringing food, even if I'm going to visit family, even if I'm going somewhere where I'm going to immediately be going to a hotel and I'll have the amenities like a refrigerator and a stove where I can cook. I still plan for
Yeah.
a minimum of 24 hours
Smart.
because I don't like being caught off guard. And I got a little tired of being hungry in the airport, thinking, okay, I'll have a healthy stop in Alberta. I'll be able to stop at the Calgary airport, grab a chicken and salad, and then delays. And I don't have that option anymore. And now 8 hours without eating other than the pretzels on the plane. And
I was just gonna say the pretzels on the plane will get ya.
it will get you. And now I've actually gotten in the habit, which there's nothing wrong. It's a few pretzels on the plane. A lot of us can just handle a few pretzels on the plane, but
For sure.
it's more the
Yeah.
fact that I just want discipline I want control over what I'm eating because I just know how much better I feel. And
Exactly.
when I get to my destination, I want to be out and about. I don't want to be laying around and resting because I'm so tired. I didn't eat. Now I have to think about where can I get to a grocery store, when or how.
Yeah.
So I've started bringing, right now, I bring at least 3 days worth of breakfast, even if I'm
Awesome.
going to my sister's where I can cook
Yeah.
uh, immediately. I usually actually bring 10 days worth of breakfast.
Breakfast. And
Yeah.
what are you bringing for your breakfast? Like, what are you packing?
I bring protein pancakes now. When I make
Nice.
protein pancakes, got a little bit of egg whites. I add in some extra protein powder. I know
Yeah.
how I train after having a protein pancake breakfast. I know how I feel, and they've worked really well for me on high activity days, which is what I
Awesome.
do when I travel. So,
Yeah.
and they're easy. So I freeze them, and they're usually a little bit frozen still when I get to my destination.
Yeah.
Those have started coming on the plane with me now in my carry-on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Become more important than other items because I don't
Awesome.
get my bag and have to look around for breakfast. It's too
Yeah.
important to me. So my carry-on has my lunch kit with it, and if the flight attendants are asking you to put your carry-on in the back of the plane because there's no space, I do not do that.
Yeah. You're
It's
like,
not
not,
with
not
me. You don't
me.
have to start annoying.
Yeah. I feel you.
So
I think,
yeah, I do that. Sorry, go on.
oh no, I was just gonna say, like, I think breakfast is like kind of an easy one, to be honest. Like, I don't travel as extensively as you, but when I do travel, say I'm going to Winnipeg for work, even just for the day, or if I'm like going to a competition for the weekend, I find breakfast is the easiest one because for me, it's oats and protein powder. And then at minimum, I have oats and protein powder and I can just literally use water to mix it. And like people might be like, okay, that's kind of gross or simple. It's like it just ticks the boxes. And again, like you can, depending on your situation, add frozen fruit. Or I have been known to just stop and grab like a package of fruit. You can get them from like co-op, gas stations, go into a grocery store. Like it's so simple to just throw some fruit on, or just bring a banana and just like you've got your oats, your protein powder, put half a banana or a full banana, depending on your goals, and then boom, breakfast is done. So I find that to be like a really easy one. And like you said too, like an important one. Like I want to make sure that I've got that fuel to start the day. And I think what they know and what we know about breakfast in terms of just like how it supports people in making better decisions is that if you eat a good breakfast, you're setting an intention for the day. Like you were saying, I'm intentionally making a choice to eat a good breakfast, and probably the rest of the choices that you make for the day will be better and at least influenced by that first choice.
Exactly. And to add on to that, it buys you time. Because if you wake up in the morning and you're like, I don't know what I'll eat, you might be eating now at 11 a.m. or 12 p.m. And again, it pushes back your whole day. So
Yeah,
having your breakfast ready allows you to figure the rest of your day out before 12 p.m. or whenever you're going to eat lunch. So
absolutely.
I just think that's a key one, and that can change your entire trip, in my
Yeah,
opinion, in my
yeah,
experience. And then when we're talking about going on road trips where I have space in my vehicle and I have my vehicle with me the entire time, that's where I use the Yeti cooler. And that thing is jam packed with frozen chili. I've started shredding and freezing chicken breast, which has actually
awesome.
worked really well. And I can throw
Yeah,
to just beef up my chili, even if I already have some beef and beans and protein in my chili, I'm
yeah,
still taking extra chicken breasts. And it allows me to just buy a fresh salad, and I already have the chicken breasts to throw in.
yeah.
Freezing it lasts longer. And sandwiches and everything like that, protein powder. I went to Costa Rica like 2 years ago, and we brought our blender.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, well done.
And you know what? It was so worth it because at least I knew I was getting like a lot of protein that day by having just a massive protein shake with fresh fruit. And
Yeah,
when you go to Costa Rica, you might get a good grocery store or places like that. You
yeah,
might go 5 days without seeing a grocery store that you feel like you actually know what you can get in there. And
yeah.
even the yogurt, just reading the back, the contents and all of the packaging, you don't always know what you're reading, and it's not always in English. So
That's true. Yeah. And I think like one of the things that like is worth mentioning and like kind of, you can really, it's a common theme for everyone. I would say day to day, never mind factor in like traveling is like just the the real barrier for people with nutrition is protein. So like that is just over and over again. People are like, well, I don't know, like how do I get my protein? How do I increase protein? And then you throw in like travel and a busy schedule, and like whether it's like going on a longer trip, like traveling internationally, or just like going on a road trip. I think that's that one you have to think about in advance. Like you have to be like thinking and planning and prepping. How am I getting protein? Because it is not a struggle to get carbs and fat in. Like you stop at any gas station, go to any restaurant, go to a freaking vending machine. Yeah,
Exactly.
you're getting carbs and fat, no problem. But
Yeah.
how are we getting protein in? And I think that's a really big one. And all of these ideas, like this is what people need to be doing. They need to be thinking like, can I bring a blender, pack protein powder, pack protein bars, think like, can I bring frozen pancakes and chili? Like this is so key because protein really is that like that missing piece. And it's if we can make sure that we're getting at least close to what we need when we travel, all the decisions we make around that protein consumption, they'll be better for it.
They will. And you'll feel better. You'll do more. You'll get more out of your holiday because you won't feel like you need to sleep as long or make up for it in this way. Like your energy is just as high as it was at home. So
Exactly.
you can try three different activities in one day instead of just, I'm going to go for a walk. That's all I can handle because I'm
Yeah.
tired.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I think too, like, I always like tell like a common, like something that I'm always talking to nutrition clients about is that prepping and planning piece. And, I think like if you have work travel, like travel for the weekend planned, if you have like one of those longer trips, a part of the planning process is like hopping online, checking out like what is breakfast at the hotel if you're staying at a hotel. Like what is breakfast at the hotel? Is that an option? Like do they have healthy options? Is it a buffet? Is there a grocery store nearby the hotel where I'm staying? Same thing if you're staying with family. It's a little bit different when you're staying with family because hopefully you have access to a kitchen and a grocery store and you can be like, a little bit like more prepped and planned and in line with what you normally take in. But when you're looking at like staying at a hotel, then you need to do a little bit of that like legwork in advance. Cause otherwise it's just like, you can make the choice by all means. You can make the choice, like if it's a vacation and you're like going away once a year and you just decide like you're going to let loose and like whatever is served is what's served. That is absolutely a choice that you can make. But if you are someone that is very attached to like how you feel and you like have specific goals, then it is a little bit of like research in advance to see like what's available and like how am I getting that protein in. And like a lot of time when people go to resorts, fresh fruit and like vegetables like served in abundance. And that is like awesome. And then if you've got that protein powder that you've packed or that, you can somehow gain access to where you are, you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I like the frozen chicken because if I was going to an all-inclusive resort, no brainer, I would bring shredded frozen chicken and then I would go down, maybe get a little bit of a meal, my dinner, and just throw on some of that chicken breast.
Add that.
And then I'm
Yeah.
just picking up the protein. And when we do road trips and I have full control and I'm bringing 5 days worth of meals, like I'm talking dinner and then snacks before bed, everything. I do weigh out my food and I do check my macros and I make sure that I'm hitting that because again, my energy is a non-negotiable.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'll do the same thing when I travel. I will plug my food in advance into the macro tracker that I use. I use an app called My Macros. And so I'm like putting in what I'm eating in advance. And, there's some flexibility if something ends up changing. Even then I'll try to like guess a little bit. I'll tell clients like, hey, you may not have the most accurate label available, but try to make an educated guess if you can, like with like how much chicken was it? Oh, was it some salad? Like just the act of like being accountable while you're on the road can go really far, especially if you're someone who travels a lot. And, I have those clients that are like on the road like weekly, like, and, there's a trip every second week or every weekend. And if they're not trying to do a little bit of that planning and trying to like do a little bit of that prep, it can have a major impact on their progress. And so then it just becomes a sort of an exercise in like managing expectations. expectations. So like, do
Yeah.
what are your goals, and are you prepared to do the legwork to reach those goals? And sometimes people feel like it's like very overwhelming and very stressful. And it's like, well, then that's okay. So let's manage your expectations around what you're actually willing to do. And so I think when we're talking about like packing food and like, planning ahead, we are speaking to people who have goals with nutrition and fitness and are really wanting to commit to some like healthy, positive changes and want to change their behavior so that they can reach those goals. So again, it's not for everyone. Some people are just going to, like I said, let loose and like eat whatever is served, and that's cool. But if you're someone that wants to make those, yeah,
But
you need,
on top of that, I used to be that like I'm going on holidays. I'm going to relax. I don't want to do this. I don't
yeah,
want to, which is why number one, doing it at home, doing it on holidays, it's not fun to have to go home and make your lunch or go
yeah,
back to the hotel room over and over throughout the day. I don't like doing that. So if that were my only options, if that were the option that I gave to myself, then it would feel like a lot of work. I would eat out more. But if I can do it at home, it doesn't take
mhm.
away any time from my holiday. If anything, I just bought myself back an hour of every day, if not more.
Exactly. I agree. I think it's an investment. A little bit of prepping and planning saves time and makes you feel better, like in every possible way, like, physically, mentally, emotionally. If you had to pick like five favorite or five like your sort of like staples, essentials, foods for traveling, so like road trips, off the top of your head, maybe five's aggressive, three, say minimum of three. What are those foods for you? What are like kind of like these are my travel staples with regards to food?
Well, you know what? I should be more flexible and have more openness in my, or no, I don't have to be. I'm doing pretty well on the food that I have.
I think
But
so.
it
Yeah.
would be my protein pancakes because those have just worked so well and I can freeze them and then they
Yeah.
aren't that great if I just don't even warm them up or put anything on them, but they are good enough and
Yeah.
edible. And I kind of like them.
Yeah.
They've been sitting there warming up for a few days. So the protein pancakes,
Yeah.
I've been doing frozen bison burgers a
Ooh,
lot lately, and I do enjoy those. And then I can just pack in fruits and veggies, and easy to just find a little bit of carbs to add into that meal. Uh,
awesome.
and then probably sandwiches lately have been
Yes.
really good. And I like sandwiches because number one, they're so good. You can just like it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if I've been biking for 5 hours on a plus 40 day and I don't want to eat anything. If I smell a sandwich, I'll just crush it. It's so good.
Yeah.
Um, and I can also get back into my activity after that. I do feel good. I always think about how will I feel after I eat this meal? Do I feel like I'll have to lay down and sit around for an hour? Or
Yeah.
can I get up and get moving? And
Yeah.
sandwiches I've done really well with. And like
Yeah.
I can get a lot of protein into a sandwich.
Yeah, you sure can. Through like different meat, you can even add like a little bit of cheese that'll bump it up. Like the bread itself, like you can go with like certain brands of bread are like fortified with protein. Like there's a lot of ways that like sandwiches should not have a bad reputation. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
um, I
So those
think like
are the top ones right now.
yeah, yeah. I eat a bagel every day. I always tell people like, do not take you don't get to take my bagel away from me. Like I'm all
Yeah.
about the sandwiches. Peanut butter and jam usually makes its way onto my bagel as well. Um, I think something worth mentioning too is just like sometimes people get stuck on the road for whatever reason. Maybe things just like, let's just say like the day is chaos and things go awry and you are like without food. Maybe you had like, maybe stuff is waiting at home for you to like, get back and eat, but for whatever reason, you just don't get there. Or maybe something spoils, like you'd pack something and it was like, holy smokes, this did not work out, or you just forgot to bring the food you packed for the trip. So your options are to like go to a gas station or go to a grocery store. So let's just say you walk into a gas station. People will often ask me like, what kind of choices, like what should I grab? And so I think a lot of the times there are some, unless it's like a really remote gas station and there's like, There's nothing there but gas. Most of the time, you have some options. So I'll often encourage clients to look for things like beef jerky. Like that's going to be a easy like win. Is it like the healthiest option? Like is it the same as choosing a chicken breast or like sirloin steak? No, but it's certainly like a better option in terms of like a leaner source of protein than grabbing a bag of Doritos. So like that's a good choice for you. Often gas stations will have protein bars. So if you're someone that doesn't like, yeah, okay, I can grab it, I can manage on a protein bar. That's a really good choice. When you're looking at a nutrition label for a protein bar, I often tell clients like check out the total calories, like check out the protein to carb to fat ratio, because some bars are more like energy bars. Like they're gonna pull in more calories through carbs and fat than they are through protein. So if we're trying to like highlight that protein piece, then we're looking for like I'd say like that 20-ish grams of protein or a little bit more. When a bar has like 20 grams of fat, 10 grams of protein, and 20 grams of carbs, it's not a protein bar. Like it's basically a candy bar at that point. So that's another really good option in gas stations. And then again, just kind of looking to see like, do they have any fresh food options? Like a lot of them have like coolers and like almost like little deli sections now where you can maybe grab yourself like a turkey wrap. Hopefully it's like got an expiration date on it so you can make sure deli meat tends to keep a little bit better than other stuff. So like hopefully that I've never had a bad deli meat experience at a gas station, but if that's an option, like as we were saying, sandwiches are great. That's an option. So going into that sort of quick grab and go situation, trying to make the best choices. I'll usually pair something like that with like a big bubbly water, like grab some sort of sparkling water. And then sometimes I'll look for like a small package, very contained of candy. So not a big bag, but I'm thinking in terms of like protein, carbs, and fat. So the beef jerky is going to pull in my protein and a little bit of fat. And then I will look to see like what's available. So again, looking for a small serving size, something that's very contained that I can't get carried away with, and just like ticks a box. So this is again where like, foods have certain functions. If I can't find a tray of fruit at the gas station and I'm really hungry, I'm looking to see like what's available. Is there like some sort of like soft candy that I can grab that will like give me a little bit of a boost with the beef jerky that I'm choosing, and or maybe sometimes it's just like 2 protein bars. So there are good choices that you can make in those situations. And then if you have access to like a grocery store, you're going to the grocery store, right? Like you're just looking in the grab and go section and there are lots of options. I don't know if you've ever been in that situation where you've had to go into a grocery store and just grab something on the run.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, a lot.
Yeah,
And it's worked out that way. I mean, it's a little more time consuming, but it's worthwhile.
totally. Like the
And then
option.
all this to say, skipping the meal is not the answer. Just skipping meals and eating less that day is not the best answer.
I
It's
agree.
to like you said, a little bit of beef jerky or a lot of beef jerky and a little bit of candy. That is better than just fully skipping meals and then going home and binge eating and then
Yes.
trying to make up for that by eating less the next day. And then we're just in this cycle of
Vicious cycle.
it's just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of different ways that you can obviously number one sort of piece of advice and feedback that we're going to give people is like prep and plan. Like bring everything that you can, get that cooler, assess your situation in advance. If you are you at your family or friend's home? Do you have access to a fridge? Do you have access to a stove? Are you staying at a hotel? Does the hotel have a fridge? What are we planning for meals? Is there a grocery store around? And then just making good choices in advance of that travel. It's absolutely possible. And then if you do end up getting stuck on the road, what is the next best choice that you can make in that
yeah.
gas station or in that grocery store? So yeah, there are certainly like, I think it's there are barriers with folks that travel a lot. But I think like it's manageable if you want it to be.
It is. It's an effort but you can get better at it over time and just doing a little more every day. Again, just
Yeah.
tiny increments, making
Yeah.
your habits a little better can be enough.
Absolutely. Practice makes perfect. So, yeah, I think this will be really helpful for people. So again, if you have any questions about anything that we chatted about here today, our contact information is in the video description. Please make sure that you subscribe to our channel so that you can catch more episodes. We've got lots coming to help you out on your health and fitness journey. So thanks for being here.
Thank you.